Hi, everybody. Mike Bloom here, back with another venerated player from the reality TV community to talk this reality TV crossover season of The Amazing Race 38. We went to Crochet, aka Croatia, if you're using Jack Bayham's pronunciation, but this man is going to be crocheting us his own yarn, a narrative as to how he feels about this season. We were talking about Big Brother players. We're talking about them on The Amazing Race. We wanted to make sure that there was the third part of the CBS Big Three that was taken care of, and perhaps a fourth crown on the jewel of, or fourth jewel on the crown, I should say, of reality television as of late, considering that he is also a new star of season 3 of The Traitors Canada. So excited to welcome to the podcast the one, the only Omar Zaheer.
Hello, thank you. I was the original reality TV fan. Let's go. I'm ready to compete against
How
you.
many underscores are in your name?
Well, I'd like to say to you, Mike, let's test it right now. Who's the original Survivor crocheter?
Oh, that's a great
Ooh.
question. Survivor. I'm trying to think about who would have the short sight to bring yarn to the island. It's gotta be like Gretchen Cordy or something.
Nope. I don't even think it was invented in 1999. It was Kelly Goldsmith, who was famously crocheting on the Back from Africa special, Mike Bloom.
Wow, I did not
Fake
think that
fan.
be getting some. I did not think we'd be getting this trivia right off the bat, but I am thrilled about it personally. Omer.
Okay, Survivor's most famous Croatian.
Oh, that's it. Do you know that? Is that a? Do you know that trivia?
I think so. I
Okay.
do.
Tell me.
Survivor's original crush, Amber Burkich.
Oh, yes, it's from Croatia. I remember you actually specifically talking about
Ooh.
this. I don't think even Amber remembers she's Croatian, Homer. So, like, you are
Sworn
tapped
to
into
Beaver.
the. So, I mean, listen, you've expended a lot of Survivor trivia as you usually do, but I want to hear your talk about these other two shows because some people that are tuned in on these, these RHAP streets might know you are a Big Brother fan. You do watch the
Yes.
show, but people might not know from your appearances on other podcasts, you're an Amazing Race boy. So I want to hear your history. I want to hear some of your favorite teams. Give me the origin story here.
Oh, I love The Amazing Race back in the day, mostly. It's okay now. This season is actually pretty good. But I will say that I was locked in from season 4, which was a bit of a rough one for some fans. However, I thought it was really good. And that really hooked me on the show completely. I was obsessed with it. I was watching it every week. I was taping it on VHS, as they said back in the day. Um, and then I would wait for the rerun so I could watch the first 3. But the first 3 I binge watched, so I don't even remember them that well because they just weren't live in real time. So they don't mean as much to me as the Amazing Race Golden Era for me, which was season 4, 5, 6, 7, peak fandom. Big Robin Amber fan. The family edition really killed the momentum a bit, but I loved 9.
As a Canadian,
10,
you're like, I don't want to see so much of the US right now.
10 incredible, 11 and 12 very good, and then I feel like 13, between 12 and 13 really was the division of like, okay, now this show is becoming a little bit less about the people and more about the race. I feel like that was the distinction for me because I felt like in those first 12 seasons, you really got to know every single person pretty well and the complex relationships they had. I would say favorite seasons, season 7, season 10, season I love 5 and 6. I love 6 too. I know it's a controversial opinion, but it's messy as hell,
You're the
Mike.
second guest I'm having on this podcast is coming on standing, maybe not a certain season 6 team, but standing someone from season 6 as a whole. So, I mean, listen, we got a lot of European stops in season 6. Jess talked about the Big D. Big D enjoys Jonathan Victoria. I don't know if enjoys. Maybe I'm putting words in his mouth, but go listen to that podcast last week if you want to hear about
Wait,
Big
Big
D's
D
opinions.
loves. Is he just trying to cause controversy?
I'm again not going to put words in his mouth in that way. I'm just repeating what was said. to me. So then, all that being said, Omar, as someone who has loved that golden age, old school, amazing race, I think there has been some talk, especially from Phil, about how maybe one of the reasons why they, or at least the party line as to why they're saying they're sticking in Europe and utilizing more of these trains and foot transit was to provide more of an old school feel. Do you get that sense from this season, or is your mind more so in the big brother of it all, that you're appreciating it as sort of a different entity from even the most recent seasons around it?
I think that I'm appreciating this season from an amazing race perspective. I love the traveling drama. The difficulties of navigating is something we have lost, especially with the COVID seasons where it's all chartered flights and they have to do the expected pathway. So I really like really like this travel drama, especially with the big personalities that go along with it, because then it makes it even more fun. Because if people are all good about it, I want to see meltdowns, and we've seen some meltdowns, we've seen some conflict, and I love that, and that's what I'm here for. Now, that being said, I think the we're gonna do it in Europe to bring it back to old school. I think that's a budgetary concern. But I wish they were traveling more abroad. And you know what? Not to reheat the nachos of one Jeff Probst and Jeremy Collins, should I be calling into question the legitimacy of this season?
Yeah, is it truly the amazing race if you're traveling to only one continent? Is it a half win?
For the record, I believe it's a full win, but I do like the little throwback that this season, and I think this cast is very good. I think there was a slog of amazing race seasons in the 30s, not to be disrespectful to anybody that was on those that is listening right now, but it was especially 90 minutes. The Amazing Race is just not a 90-minute show, in my opinion, because the most important part is the last 10 minutes. I think the first episode, yes, please make it an hour and a half or 2 hours so we can know the players. But when it comes down to the last 10 minutes, but the whole Amazing Race episode is people starting and finishing tasks in the same order, it just extends the euthanasia,
Yeah, you know your way around euthanasia. So give me your thoughts about some of this, because listen, one of the biggest pieces of social strategy, and you of course are a social strategy nut, but one of the biggest pieces that can be utilized in a game like The Amazing Race, which doesn't inherently contain it, is something like the U-turn, like we saw in this most recent episode. And I was excited to talk to you about this. We planned this ahead of time, but I did see a post from you on social media about, you talking about how you, how could you be someone that essentially roots for both sides of the Izzy Page, Jag and Jazz U-turn event. So I guess we'll talk about one half of this first, the more pressing, dramatic part of the U-turn. Give me your thoughts on this, both from a strategic perspective, a personal perspective, a good TV perspective.
So I have such a hard time because I love both of these teams that are feuding so much. But you know what? I am of the old school mindset of Survivor, where I'm like, use that U-turn to just really twist the knife, Like, I don't want this boring, let's go for the people at the back of the pack thing. Like, I want you to sink it into the biggest player and twist it by double U-turning somebody that's already gone through the U-turn. You know what I mean? So that it's only a single U-turn, basically. That's what I want to see. And these guys, they played it kind of safe, which I understand from the perspective of their alliance and their connections in the game. But it wasn't the most dynamic choice from a strategy perspective. However, the end result was juicy. We saw some people overhearing some conversations. Is it a men's alliance? Roxroy's out there. What is going on? And I don't know. Like, I just feel like Jag and Jazz and Joseph and Adam are very kind, nice people that are about uplifting marginalized communities. And I don't really get the sense that their choices were gendered. And so I have a hard time putting that label on them, but I also don't want to minimize how people felt either. But I just think that it was a very simple situation where Jag and Jazz and Izzy and Paige are not getting along 100%. it makes sense to try to remove somebody that you're not getting along with on the race. And then in Joseph and Adam's position, who do get along with Izzy and Paige, they're trying to help them out by throwing another team that may be considered quote unquote a bit weaker to save both of their other allies who happen to be both girl teams, So I get it. And I don't think it was malicious, or I don't think it should have been taken in the way that it was, from what I saw at least.
Do you think that, because again, you talk about a season that you love, like season 10, which really was the first to introduce truly like a capital A alliance on The Amazing Race in the form of the backpack. We saw how well that worked out. I mean, we're seeing, something to a similar effect with the Trainwreck Alliance in terms of like, hey, let's help each other in ways that we can. They all end up running to the U-turn at the same time and working together to, be able to use both sides of it. Do you think this is something that can inherently last in a show like The Amazing Race, or do you feel like these are things that are too much Big Brother, trying to fit that square peg into a round hole?
So I feel like we saw that even first of all, Team Beauty Queens all the way. Although I probably don't want to see their social media now. Like, who knows what's going to be on there? But that's how I felt at the time, and I was like, "Fuck these three." We're trying to fuck them over, So that was mine. Although David and Mary, hilarious, icons. But that being said, Rob and Amber, they started that as well a little bit earlier. They formed an alliance with that guy, the military guy.
Oh, Ron and Kelly, yes.
Yes.
The one where she said that he should have stayed a POW.
Oh my God. I forgot about
Do you remember that when they were fighting? He's like, oh yeah, I got captured. He's like, well, they should have kept you.
I don't remember that. That's so funny. But you know what I do remember? And then I'll get back to the point, was Meredith.
Oh, we're on a bad elephant.
I'm on a bad elephant. So
there's that,
good.
and there's that also time where she went like in the caves in Africa and broke her head open. It was like bleeding all over. Poor couple, Meredith and Gretchen.
Meredith always reminded me of Mr. Turtle.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I feel that where were we? Oh yeah, the alliances. I think it can carry you away, but I will say the alliance structure on The Amazing Race, I find more interesting when it's not as locked in. I don't like when people wait for each other. I don't like when people game the challenges where they have to like find a phrase, they just tell the person and they don't even have to do the challenge. Like, that's where I like the strategic strategy where they're not doing the work for somebody else or allowing them to bypass what actually needs to be done. I find that to be a bit aggravating, to be honest. It's smart, don't get me wrong. Like, the way some of the alliances have worked, especially in the 20s and 30s of this race, have been smart because it advances people forward. But when it is just like ragging on the underdogs even further, I get a little bit annoyed by it, I have to say. But I have not found this alliance to necessarily fully cross the line into complete annoyance, mostly because I do like the people in it. But I do prefer when people like, I like to see the preview where there's a little bit of tension in between Natalie and Stephanie of, let's get going. We're not going to wait around here forever, especially when they're aligned with, one of the, or two of the strongest teams in the game. So
yeah,
I think there's a mix. What about you, Mike Bloom? Isn't it a bit aggravating sometimes?
I mean, I think it is, I think the thing that I always go back to is the season 32 roadblock when they were rappelling down the skyscraper and one team got the answer and they just told the answer to all the other teams.
Hated that.
And so it's not only, allowing all these other teams to get ahead, but there's also the I'm going to stay behind and make sure that you finish. That feels a little antithetical to the race to me. Like, I'm always somebody, no matter what, in these reality shows that is like, as long as you're operating within the rules, if you want to find ways to like quote unquote break the game,
yes,
that's innovation to me. Yeah. And so again, it depends on what that definition of innovation is. If it's something like, hey, I'm just going to hang back and write out directions for someone, great. If it's something like, hey, we're going to lose the battle by giving someone first place for their birthday to hopefully win the war of loyalty. Yeah, it's kind of weird because the weird thing about this season is that we're in for I can't even call it returnee, but to have these people returning to another show where there's dynamics that are baked in, you might get that on a returning season, but we're not used to that on The Amazing Race. I think that's where a lot of it comes down to me as well, is that even though we're providing all these examples, a lot of these we're not used to seeing on The Amazing Race. Yeah. I think you and I might have better taste buds for it because we are used to seeing these people operate in that type of environment. But again, I think that the people who only watch The Amazing Race, I think they've grown on some of these teams, especially getting to know the fantastic personalities they are. But I would understand if they're like, there is so much gaming going on right now. I just want them to go around the world and do silly tasks.
Well, yeah, and I get it. I get it, especially when there's pre-existing relationships. I think it's a bit more fun because some of those are contentious, some of them are not. I just don't like when it ends up ragging on the bottom feeders and it's like,
Yeah.
let's make sure they can't advance. And it's like, you should actually want some of those bottom feeders to make it ahead of some of the people that you're helping out. Like, so it's a fine line, but I think that this season has not crossed over into where it's unwatchable. Whereas I feel like some of the previous seasons have been like, so like, come on, like, let's see what actually happens if they do the work, you know?
Yeah. So let's talk about the other half of this U-turn because I'm still trying to wrap my head around this about Joseph and Adam U-turning Rubina and Christine. And again, they express in confessional like, we're doing this to help protect Izzy and Paige because we like them. We can't U-turn, we can't U-turn Hannah and Simone. Jack and Chelsea, I guess, are off limits. So I don't know. You can again look into more of this intricate strategizing, even if you don't know what was happening in the moment. Do you feel like this was Adam and Joseph like undermining Jag and Jess by being like, "Hey, we're going to do this to help the people that you're targeting"? Do you think Jag and Jess would agree to this? You think they were just trying to like get a jab in an Izzy and Paige without necessarily wanting to eliminate them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Adam and Joseph were probably playing all sides. Social kings. They seem to have the best relationships across the board. And so I don't think that they were intentionally undermining Jag and Jazz, but they were trying to help their friends and help themselves. And they were still U-turning somebody else that was not in the alliance. So what are Jag and Jazz going to really say about it? Like, it's fine. Somebody at the back of the pack. It kind of made sense. And so I think that it was just maintaining all relationships and plausible deniability. And I think with what they were doing, it actually was the best move for them as an individual. But I love when it's messy and they'll be like, okay, we're going to U-turn Eric and Tucker now because now the second U-turn is ostensibly useless, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about possible mess spilling over, you mentioned it before, but the accusations of the gentleman's agreement, of course, the optics, even if that wasn't exactly the case with their intentions of, having the all women teams getting U-turned. We get a confessional from Tucker and Eric saying, like, oh, does this mean that Kylan and Taylor are coming after us? Do you think this is laying the ground for anything? Obviously, last episode, we had this big Izzy, Paige, Jag, Jazz moment that laid the ground for this U-turn use. Do you think we're already setting up, to your point, what I assume is going to be at least another U-turn in this season?
We can only hope. Like, I am begging for some drama, so I want to see it. I want to see it bad. I want to see this play out. But I will say, to be fair to Joseph and Adam and Jag and Jazz, they actually could not U-turn Eric and Tucker, right? Like, they were ahead.
Yeah.
So it's not like even that wasn't even an option, you know? And so I don't think we can really, and I think, what one of my number one pet peeves, Michael Scott Bloom, is when people who get to the U-turn first do not U-turn. U-turn.
You're Mr. Blood on your hands. Like, you want it to happen no matter what.
Don't be a coward, in my opinion. So use it, or you know what? It's going to get used and it's not going to be you in charge of it. That's how I see it. But I think that it will be messy moving forward. And I hope it is, because that's what we all want to see.
From your perspective as, again, a game-minded person, do you feel like there is sort of like a hard and fast strategy to using the U-turn? Is it always going to be big game hunting? Should you try to do, as you mentioned before, pull a 20s, do like a burn one side of the U-turn every single time, or is it always situation dependent?
I think it's always situational. Actually, the best player strategy is, what did they say on episode 1 of Survivor? Michael Bloom, you have to adapt or you'll be voted out of the tribe. Sonia, Christopher, rest in peace. So in my opinion, you have to see what's best for your strategy in the moment. And especially early on in the game, that's probably preserving relationships. Towards the end of the game, and I will say it is harder if you know somebody. I don't know if I could like U-turn a friend. I get that. That's just like probably not possible. But if it is a situation, especially when you come into a game where none of them know each other, I really think if you've got a really strong team, you got to hit that U-turn, and then you've got to use it in the burn the other half of it. If they're a threatening team, if it's like two strong teams, who cares? Just use it on both of them. It doesn't matter. But I hate when they go after somebody that's a bottom feeder. But if you are like 8th out of 9th and you have that open U-turn, you have to obviously go for the person that's behind you. Like that is punching down, but we don't have a choice.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why they go with doubles usually over singles, is because it does give that initial team U-turn a chance to be able to like say, okay, we're dragging someone down with us at
Yeah.
least, to be able to like give us some sort of fine chance. Now, the interesting thing about this circumstance is that both teams that were U-turned ended up surviving because it came at the folly of Hannah and Simone, where it was all going downhill in the roadblock, but evidently not a downhill journey that was under 36 seconds. So talk to me a bit about this, because on the one hand, yes, the mess of these two teams surviving, but on the other hand, we get a legitimately like heartbreaking yet heartwarming conclusion to the story of these sisters as they are able to like reconcile with one another and simultaneously weep over the fact that their race is over.
Yes. So I will say I love when a U-turn team survives because that is just the best TV. But obviously, this was a very touching moment with Hannah and Simone. Hannah's a very supportive sister. I think she's she's the older one, right?
She's older, yeah.
And I will say that that shows a lot of character in that moment of intensity to be so kind and nice to your partner. Had that been my older sister and I'd be like. She'd be like, I can't do it. I don't know how to drive, let alone go kart. And I'd be like, what is get your ass down the fucking mountain, Jeopardy ass, So I respect somebody that can really be supportive when, it's like on Family Feud when they're like, good answer. And I'd be like, fuck you. That's a terrible answer. But no, it was very sweet moment. Happy they got to run the race because I think that they were alternates, right? So
I believe that's the low-key rumor, was that they were either brought on the last minute as like an additional 13th team, or they replaced a team at the last minute.
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say it on record. I don't give a damn why the fuck were the Wharton Bros not on over Mr. Fake Ass Mario and his brother.
Enzo?
Yes.
I don't think anybody compared Enzo to Mario.
Oh, it's a plumber. I mean, Palumbo. Never mind. He's not a plumber.
He's not a plumber at all. His last name kind of has like half the letters in the word plumber.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, see, that's where it came from. I got it mixed up.
Oh, you
Oopsie.
mentioned your lovely sister Juveria before, Omar. I'm curious, if you were given, let's say if there was a Survivor version of this experiment and you had to bring a non-CBS affiliated loved one on as your partner, who would it be? Either for good racing or good entertainment.
So it has to be a family member.
I would say a family member, someone very close in your life who has not been on television before.
It literally cannot be her though, because
I guess she's been, yeah, I guess she counts.
Well, no, but it can't be her, even if she does count, because she doesn't like to do anything outside. She doesn't know how to ride a bike. Neither do I. She doesn't know how to ice skate. She doesn't know how to drive even a standard or an automatic, let alone a standard. She can't drive an automatic, Mike. She's 49 years old. No, she's not 49. Oh my God. What if she hears this? She can't drive. She can't swim. She can't bike. She doesn't like outside. No way. I think I would have to go with my cousin, Imran. I think that he would be a good partner.
Does he sort of have like, because this gets talked about a bit with Amazing Race partners, like there are the ones that they have the same skill set as you, and so you feel like you really vibe with each other, but there's also like the yin yang, like you do things that I can't do.
Opposite, like so much. Good. Like he's more athletic, like by nature. Actually, it was interesting because if you on Earth, but as a child, the angel, and he was the devil on Earth. Like I would turn the corner as a toddler, and he would push me down. And then he also did the worst thing you could possibly do to another human being to me all the damn time. When we were playing Mario 1 on the NES, and you would jump over, like I would play second player because he was older, so he got the first player. And when I would start jumping over the little pit, he would pause it.
Oh,
And then I would fall in the pit and it would be his turn again. Like, that's actually so fucked up. Like,
that's
that
really,
was,
yeah, that's quite cruel. Yeah.
yes. So that was him. But now I'm the devil and he's the angel.
It's only a matter of time, right? Live long enough to see
Yeah.
yourself become the villain, etc., etc. Well, let's talk about some of these teams, Omar. Which dynamics are you liking from some of these people that we have been introduced to over the course of this race?
Okay, well, we didn't get enough of Angela straight off the bat. Straight off the bat, we needed her around longer. Where was the non-elimination, in my opinion? Secondly, I really like the Jag and Jazz versus Izzy and Paige storyline, and even their internal dynamics I like as well. But I just am obsessed with both of the teams. I love them so much, and the fact that they hate each other makes it even more fun because I like them both. Like, there's nothing better than a feud where you like both of them and it's not that deep, you know. Maybe it is deeper than I think, but it's just fun to watch because there is a true emotion there, but it's not nasty at this point, at least not yet. And I love Joseph and Adam. I love what they're representing. I love that they're running around the world showing a very positive side to their culture, and they're representing so well. So proud of them for that. And yeah, I feel like those are the major standouts to me.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on Joseph and Adam because this is something that Jess and I have been talking about. Like, they might have some of the most visibility of a lot of the teams that are left, despite the fact that, like, their record has been maybe the most up and down out of all these teams after being, everyone else has been pretty remarkably consistent. Of course, we had all the stuff going on with just the loving shit show that was last week, the 134 tries with the rings inside of the circus tent, of Joseph breaking the key in the lock, of Joseph making the horses too calm. Actually, talk to me a bit about that. Do you feel like that is a thing? Was Joseph the horse Zoloft? Is it possible to make horses be too calm?
I will say there is just something about certain animals where they just respect some people and they just absolutely have no respect for other people. And like, I see it with parrots all the time. Like, sometimes I'll step a parrot up onto my hand and it knows better than to try to climb onto my shoulder. It goes to the next person and they're already up there, and they just know who they can fuck with and who they can't. And so I think that the horse did not respect Joseph, probably because he's too much of a kind soul. Like a horse, you gotta be able to stand up. So, and if you're uncomfortable or too, I'm not saying be mean to the horse, that sounds terrible, but they just know sometimes, and I don't know how to describe it. They just know. And I wouldn't say that I'm a horse whisperer. That's not my animal expertise area. Parrots literally try to make out with me anytime I see them. That's my expertise area.
I don't know if that's like a bragging point or something to be repulsed by.
Well, they stick out their little tongue from their beak and they go, ah. It's like Yoshi. That's what it's like. So I feel like certain people are certain type of animal people, and a horse is a very majestic, smart, and intuitive creature, and they just know who they can fuck with and who they can't.
Do you have any sort of, obviously not every animal is the same, hence your entire career path. Do you have any advice for people, though, that are handling these animal tasks? Because they oftentimes seem more like a when than an if when you encounter them on the race. Just general ways that you should approach all these types of foreign creatures in foreign countries.
Yeah. Well, one thing about a horse as well is I refused to rectal it in vet school, by the way.
I didn't realize you could opt out of that.
It was because they said, you know what? You have to put your hand up a horse's ass to check for pregnancy, and their colon is so thin you could rip through it. So they're like, if people don't want to like do it, you don't have to. And I didn't want to rip its colon from the inside out, so I said no, thank you. But I did to a cow, and remember when I badged it by accident. But nevertheless, I think for these animal tasks, you have to just be patient with the animal, go at their speed, and you really need to calm down your own energy. If you are like really worked up and very on edge, they definitely pick up on that, and it's going to throw them off, and they're going to be more worried about what you're doing. And is there like, should they be on alert for something rather than the task at hand? You also cannot. And Colin, your ox was not broken. You were.
Oh, yeah, calling him out all these years later. He needs
Yeah,
it at this point. He needs to get
yeah,
taken down
especially
a
with the
peg. They got their win.
donkeys.
He needs to remember it.
Now, I will say with donkeys, sometimes they're just not gonna, so you might as well switch donkeys if that's a possibility.
Yeah, if there was a certain animal that once you see it, you're like, oh my god, worst case scenario, this could spell the end of my race. Like, what would that worst case scenario animal be for you?
Well, for me, it would definitely be a spider because I wouldn't want to touch it,
Mm.
but a donkey, like they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and you're not gonna get any sort of, you're not gonna win if they don't want to. They're not gonna, and that's just it.
Well, I want to hear a little bit more about some of these like plus ones, or I don't want to call them that because now they're actual regular people here.
Yeah,
They have lives, they have identities.
they've done just as much as Amazing Race as these people, Mike.
That's actually very true. That's a very valid point. So then give me some of your thoughts on, who are some of these people that are popping out to you of those that you were not necessarily familiar with ahead of time?
I think Paige is great.
Of course.
Super competitive, always going in on it, and is not afraid to give it back to Izzy a little bit too. We like to see them both. I love their dynamic. They're both incredible people. Love watching them. I think that Jazz as well is really has a strategic side and is more like he's not like falling into the background from Jag. He is holding his own. He gets a lot of the confessionals and he's thinking strategically as well. I think that Adam as well has a great story with the diabetes. I think that Natalie and Stephanie's dynamic is interesting because they're so opposite. And they both have their own individual skill sets, which is kind of fun to watch grow as well. I guess Kylan and Taylor they're both reality stars.
Yeah, give me your
So,
thought on this. I like to just chime in and ask for everyone in the reality TV community's thoughts on this enigmatic relationship. What was your
yes, I
take
don't
when you
know.
found out they'd be racing around the world together?
Yes, this is so random because everybody else was with another person, but I mean they are doing pretty well for themselves. I was a little bit thrown off because I thought that they would be the dominating force in the game, but they struggled a little bit early on. But I think that's part of the design of having a lot of these legs. Unfortunately, are like where you start is kind of where you finish, and I think that that is a weakness of the Amazing Race America format. If you
Mm.
watch the Canada version, there is a lot of flip flopping of the order before the end of the episode because I think the tasks are much more difficult. But Kylan and Taylor, they're now starting to come in their own. They were a little bit purple early on, which is their color.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to see the emergence, and I love that. I want to see that fiery side of Taylor come back out. I want to see the competitive side of Kylan come back out. And now that they have an enemy to work against, it's gonna be gold.
Yeah, so I mean, we've done away with 5 teams at this point. Rubina talks about that we are approaching the halfway point. And listen, the Amazing Race on paper, we'd like to see variability. We like the idea that like anyone can win at any time, anyone can be eliminated at any point in time. But from your perspective, either from an edit perspective, a racing perspective, have you narrowed the field down at all as to who you think might actually win this in the end, or are you trying to
Yeah.
keep the field as open as possible?
I feel like to me, my favorite Amazing Race seasons are those where the order of finishing is extremely unpredictable.
Mm.
And I like to see a lot of flip-flopping in the rankings. I want to see people go from being bottom G dot Odysseys to the top and vice versa. I want to see crash outs, meltdowns of people that have been used to doing okay. Now they're at the bottom. And there's no better Amazing Race finish other unless it's like a really like your favorite team. Like when Rob and Amber lost, I was pissed because they were dominating the whole way and they deserve to win. And fuck you, American Airlines.
I was gonna say you just never flew on that plane.
Yes, yeah. Fuck you, American Airlines, and your Rob has a podcast ads.
Was it actually American Airlines? I didn't even think about it.
I think it was American that fucked over Rob and
Wow,
Amber.
the most
and it was-
anti-Boston Rob airline in human history.
Yeah, maybe this was Rob's sister Nino's plan the whole time. And then United fucked over Chris and John over Freddie and KKK Kendra. Oops, did I just dropped that? So where were we going with this? I've lost my train of thought.
You were talking about the variance and how sometimes you
you
get disappointed by seeing people lose in the end, but you like the
outcome.
randomness.
is when somebody bottom goddesses their way through the whole thing, escaping eliminations, getting the non-elim, and then all of a sudden they come through at the end and win unexpectedly. I want an unexpected winner, even if they didn't dominate through the whole game. So I feel like that best underdog story would probably come from someone like Izzy and Paige. However, I do feel like we are getting a lot of stuff from the perspective of Jag and Jazz and Joseph and Adam. I feel like Natalie and Stephanie are in there, but I think they're more like peripheral to those two. So if I had to put my money on a winner, it would be one of those two teams. I think that a lot of the people like Kylan and Taylor and Rubina and Christine, they've been a little bit too variable in their airtime for me to see like a strong winner storyline from them.
All right, Omar, putting you a little bit on the spot here. And I know, again, this is a little bit of a square peg into a round hole, but I'd be remiss, since I had you here, to not try to bring one of your tried and true traditions on the B&B, in a manner of speaking, over to the Amazing Race. I
Ooh.
want you to talk through some of these teams and compare them to animals,
Oh
either
my
in
God.
their racing abilities, either in their relationship to each other, in their
Okay.
appearances, whatever criteria you want to use.
Okay. Well, who should we start with? This is so I wish I had prepared. Oh my God.
Do you want to? Let's just go down the. We'll go down the leaderboard if that makes the most sense.
Okay.
So let's start with Tucker and Eric. Now, this might be an easy one because these two brothers, with no offense to them, do seem fairly alike in behavior and looks. Who do the Delorier brothers remind you of?
I feel like these two are like they're in their raptor family, so something that's a bird of prey with the talons, because they're very sleek. They're gonna go hunting, and they're there to get the job done. They're not really, even though there was a little bit of discussion, a little hoot nanny about other people's comments, but they weren't making the comments. They were responding and being like, I'm just here to play the game. I don't think that they're like a hawk. I think they're more falcon like, so I'm gonna go with Merlins.
Oh, I love
Pair of
that.
Merlins that are hanging out in their little tree or skyscraper waiting to just go do their job and go home and high wing each other.
And just to clarify for people out there, that is Merlins, not Merkids, okay? Get your head out of the gutter. But
What
let
is a
us get...
Merkid?
I'll tell you when you're older. All right, let's move down the leaderboard here. We mentioned them a few times, but Kylan and Taylor. Now, I will admit for this one, like you can choose to describe them both as a singular animal. You could do different ones because in this case, especially, they are two very different people.
I feel like they together are the sun bear. The sun
Oh,
bear is not the most imposing or powerful looking bear, but they have a lot of power to their punch as well. They're not the fastest moving. You may not see them coming, but they are a contender and they're ready to pull their claws out and fuck you up. Because you know what? A sun bear, is it more dangerous than a grizzly bear? Maybe.
okay. Moving down, making their way back to the podium. After, controversially using their U-turn, Jag and Jazz.
Jag and Jazz. I feel like they have got to be like, and you know what? Again, for all of you people listening out there, as a disclaimer, if you get an animal you don't like, that's not my fucking problem. You don't understand them. So all the animals I'm giving out are excellent creatures. I'm obsessed with the sun bear and the merlin, and I'm obsessed with this creature who is misunderstood but cool as hell. And I've got to go with hyenas and even the striped hyena, because the
Ooh.
striped hyena is a predator. Like they are going to go out there and get their bag. They don't give a fuck. But you know what? They don't always get the credit they deserve because those lazy ass lion bitches come and steal their food, and then they look like the heroes to the world when they're the lowliest scavengers of them all. When the hyenas are doing all the work, working together, whooping, they're whooping all the time, and we know that that's what Jag and Jazz do. They're having a great time while they do it, and they have just been powerful in this race. They are, you know what? Could you outrun a hyena, Mike Bloom?
I
No,
don't
you
think...
fucking couldn't.
No,
You couldn't.
I mean, I'd say I wouldn't be able to outrun, like, I don't know, a good 50% of anything that exists in this world, human or animal.
Yeah. And they are also, hyenas are misunderstood, as we saw Jag and Jazz were in that country where people were being bitches to them.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Hungary?
That was hungry, yes.
Well, they're hungry for the win, so let's go.
And hyenas can be very hungry as well, those scavengers.
They are. Did you not just hear what I said?
I didn't. I was going with the triple pud. All right. Well, let's talk about Joseph and Adam.
Okay,
What animals do they remind you of?
Joseph and Adam remind me of like, I'm gonna go with a relative of the elephant. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I'm trying to think about. All I can think about is like a smaller version of an elephant, which I believe is still an elephant.
Okay, Mike. The two
This is
closest.
I love getting pantsed from a biological, zoological perspective on this podcast. That's what I welcome every single time I get the chance to talk with you on mic and off.
Good, you dumb bitch. It's the two options are manatees or hyraxes. And I'm going to go with hyraxes here because hyraxes, they are very strong. They're up and all over the place. They're up and at them. They're climbing rocks. They're doing crazy shit. But also, they are very good at being sociable. I mean, they have big family groups. They're always chitter chattering with each other. They're, you could look at them and be like, oh, let's, like, oh, what an adorable creature. They're so nice. They're so friendly. And so there's also a really funny video. Not that this reminds me of Joseph and Adam, of some guy who has like a rescue Hyrax. And the Hyrax just is on his dashboard screaming. And he's like, it's going like, and he's like, I fucking told you we were going to the mountains. You didn't fucking believe me. And he's like ragging on this Hyrax. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. But yes, I'm gonna go with Hyraxes.
Okay.
Not to be confused with and they're probably good at high rocks. So that's a connection.
There we go. I love to hear it. Let's go to the back of the pack here, the second half of the currently remaining teams. Natalie and Stephanie. Let's finish off the Trainwreck Alliance.
Ooh,
here.
armadillos.
You jumped right to that. Tell me why.
I just see it because they both. The thing is, you have. I feel like Stephanie is like the 9-banded armadillo, which is the one that you standardly think of. Who's like, they've got a big, tough exterior. They're milling about. They could get leprosy, but they are just, a force of nature because they do create a lot of different habitats. And Natalie's just there to get the job done. And then, that's Stephanie. Natalie is has a more I guess they're like kind of opposites in that she's more willing to embrace the dress side of her, the feminine side. And so she reminds me of like the little pink fairy armadillo, but they're both still armadillos and they're both still getting the job done, and they look different, but they're same but different. So that's these two,
and we'll see if this desert duo will desert any teams next week in the next time on.
Yeah, as they should. But yeah, I guess we'll give it to you, Mike.
Thank you. That's all I need at this point. Let's get into a team that we really have made no mention of, but I would say, almost surprisingly so, has not been shown that much on the show proper. Jack and Chelsea. Are you picking up any animal vibes from them?
Oh, I feel like they're like Jack and Chelsea to me are like some sort of. Oh, I hear the Blue Jays. I think they have scored. I don't know. I can hear the commotion downstairs. Okay, for Jack and Chelsea, I'm gonna go not with the Blue Jays. I think they're giving to me Under the Ocean. I feel like I'm either going one way or the other. They're either a sea turtle or some sort of fish. And the sea turtle, you know what? I think that Jack is the sea turtle. He's just milling about, getting from A to B, is not in a huge rush, but he has wisdom. And I feel like Chelsea is kind of like rainbow fish, rainbow fish.
Oh, I love that book. Yeah.
Did you watch the show?
There's a show?
Oh my god,
it was such a whole show out of the rainbow
Who's
fish?
The foamiest fish in the ocean? Who's the foamiest fish under the sea? That's rainbow fish.
The foamiest fish?
Yeah.
Is that a quality to aspire to as a fish?
I think it is like really cool to be foamy as a fish, but she gives the fish, she's hustling. She's full of energy, vibrancy, running around, and then she's got to pull the little sea turtle along to be like, let's get going.
Okay, I like it. Well, let's put our heads above water for this next pick, or maybe not. Izzy and Paige. Where are we
Oh,
going for this
yes,
one?
Izzy and Paige. I feel like they have got to be. Okay. It's feeling to me like Izzy and Paige are something that is I feel like they are like rhinos.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. They're not willing. They're not afraid to bulldoze down the competition, extraordinarily competitive. And I think I'm going to go with the black rhinoceros over any of the other types. I think
Okay.
yes, they are going to be black rhinoceroses.
Any particular
Oh,
reason why?
yes, because they are not afraid to get into it. They sometimes they will absolutely leap before they look, but in the best possible way. Like the black rhino will often just be like, "No, I'm not fucking around," and they'll go after them. That's why they're more dangerous to people sometimes, because they have, they're just got that flip to switch, and so they're just gonna go for it. And so I love that competitive nature. They are strong, powerful, extraordinarily competitive, and just absolutely majestic. You go to the zoo to watch an Izzy and Paige or
Mm.
a black rhino. You don't go to the zoo. Well, I mean, I go to the zoo to watch every animal, and if you come to the zoo with me, we're seeing every animal. And if you want to leave early, I'll bitch you out because you know what? That's not what we're here for. We will wait by every enclosure until we see everything. But like some people aren't going there to see the goat. I am, but that's not for everybody.
All right, let's get into our final team. We mentioned them before, Rabina and Christine. What are your thoughts on
Oh,
these
these are
two?
like they're like little hamsters.
Aw.
Little Roborovsky's hamsters, not even teddy bear hamsters. They're the little Russian ones. Just having a good time, fumbling around, doing what they can. Ultimately, they're probably going to get squished by the competition, but they're going to be really fun and cute trying to do it.
All
They're
right.
just
Oh.
they're for a good time, not a long time.
And they do have that stature as
And
well.
hamsters only live 2 years. When you really start to love them, that's when they die.
God, that really puts things into perspective that they only live 2 years.
Yeah. They'll
Wow.
be, you got a hamster, Mike, it'll be dead by 2027. You get Rubina and Christine on this show, they'll be gone by like 7. We don't know.
Oh, listen, while I have you here, might as well get your thoughts on these other 5 teams. Why not? We have the time. All
Why
right,
not?
Hannah and Simone, recently eliminated team.
Oh, Hannah and Simone, they are definitely on the African savanna. They are some sort of antelope, I would say. And I think I'm going to go with, they are, I feel like they're the Sitatonga. No, that was
Ooh.
Sarah Wade. They
I love how you have
are,
memories of this, by the way, too, of like the
oh,
the comprehensive catalog of new era players you compared to animals as well.
yeah. We don't like to repeat unless absolutely necessary. So I'm gonna actually go with like an Impala, elegant, graceful, strong, a solid sedan. No, do you know what the Impala is? That's also a car.
Yeah, Chevy Impala. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But no, that's not what I'm going for. They are, they're really strong. They are herd, so they work together. They are going to work together rather than split apart, and they're great.
How about Kat and Alex? Is Kat a
Oh
cat?
yes, these are like no, these are not cats. They are. I feel like they are like binturongs. Do you know what those
Ooh,
are?
I feel like is it some sort of like gazelle antelope like creature?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
They are more. So you should Google it. I don't even know how to describe a binturong to you.
Okay, let me
Um,
see if I can. Oh, ooh, okay. This is like
oh,
it's kind of close to like a badger, kind of like
kind
a
of.
like
It's like in a. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like its own thing, but they smell like popcorn.
naturally, or do they eat a lot of it?
Naturally. Naturally, they smell like popcorn. That's like a thing about them. But they're very charismatic. They're kind of all over the place. They're really entertaining. But they're too slow moving for the race.
All right, Megan and Matt. Maybe these should have been the ones that are too slow moving for the Rays because these two, I love them. They took their time. They took their
I feel
time.
like they were naked mole rats for sure, without a
Ooh.
doubt. They were like burrowing around blind, trying to get around, not sure where they're going. They have a charisma to them that is somewhat charming, but it's like you're never going to make it
I
there,
do
you
recall
know?
you talk a lot about the charisma of the naked mole rat whenever we do this game on the B&B.
Yeah, yeah, and famously, the naked mole rat also. I don't think that they're the naked mole rat queen. These two are more like the workers, you know, like the tunnelers, that are just doing the job they're supposed to and not thinking about it. But the naked mole rat queen, which someday we'll get a character on Survivor that is that, and I'm gonna be quick to name drop it. But the naked mole rat queen likes to stress out all the other females in the colony so that they don't reproduce because she wants to be that girl.
Oh my god. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we do love are they like evil dick style begging pots and pans to keep everybody up in the naked mole rat colony?
It seems so, except less insidious.
Well, perhaps someone that would cause that type of catastrophic sabotage. Angela and Lexi, in your opinion, gone too soon. But what did you see of them during their 2 legs on the race?
Are we going to see Lexi and Quinn on the next Amazing Race?
Oh
Big Brother
my
edition?
god, that'd be wild. That would be incredible. Like, you might not remember me. I mean, it's Shades of Eric and Danielle on Amazing Race season 8 or 10
Yeah,
or
I
just
mean,
11, 11.
I've seen the rumors online, but in terms of Angela and Lexi, I think that we're going to go with, I think we have to go with the cougar for Angela,
Ah,
obviously, and then the cougar's cub, you know, like they're a pair of cougars, except one is still a cub and Angela is my cougar. And, you know, she's really going to go for it, not going to back down from a fight, and is fiercely protective of the baby, always watching.
last but certainly not least, we're going to the
Oh, and also
plumbers.
the cougar is everywhere. It's the
Really?
most widespread living cat in the world. And Angela's been on 17,000 reality shows, including Dr. Phil.
Wait, that is actually incredible. I love that logic. Well, of course, we gotta finish things off. Mamma mia, it's the Palumbo brothers. Listen, they could ride a bike, though, at least. They were able to do that. So, what were your thoughts on the two of them and what animals they reminded you of?
The cockroach.
Pretty short life for the cockroach, even shorter than the hamster.
No, they gotta be like, oh, I just can't be unbiased because of my Wharton bros. But not that they hold any hard feelings or anything like that. But I do. I wanted to watch them on the TV. I'm gonna go with probably like a no, not a snake. They're not that good. I mean, like good at like hunting, you know, like
Mm.
I feel like they have to be some sort of insect. What about the walking stick?
Oh, I like that. That
Yeah,
they
because you know what? We saw that on Survivor 45. It liked to be a little bit of a jokester, a
like to
clown, you
dance,
know,
yeah.
life of the party a little bit. But are they really bringing anything to the table ultimately?
All right. Well, this was an incredible time, Omar. I felt like dancing like a walking stick this entire time, getting to hear your thoughts about this cast. Any final thoughts you want to get into? Any things that we didn't talk about over the course of the past 5 episodes of The Amazing Race and beyond?
Yeah, I guess advance apologies to the meow meow because you know what? Like, I am just love my Wharton bro so much, and it's nothing against you. But
I think he understands.
yeah,
He'll
but also
he's firing off in the comments right now.
yeah, but also Desi. But also
Justice for Desi.
I think this season is great. I actually quite like it. I think that it is bringing me back to being an Amazing Race fan, where I'm actually paying attention to the show every week instead of being on my phone and not understand. Like I don't even know what happened last season, and I'm so sorry to say, with
Mm.
all due respect, but that was my ADHD's fault, not the cast. I'm sure it was great, but I'm really liking this season because I did have some invested interest going into it, and like I know these people, so it was more fun to watch. And so I really enjoy it. My favorite teams of Amazing Race history include Boston, Robin, Amber, the Beauty Queens, Dustin and Candace,
Mm.
um, Christina and the Real Truth Flavor Ron, icons, the Bowling Moms, love
Yes.
them. Who else do we have that was pretty good? Ken and Gerard, very fun character.
Oh,
Oh, the
yeah, Bald
clowns,
Snark. The
the
clowns. Oh, yeah,
clowns,
because you came in with Amazing Race 4, you would
and
be John
Kelly
and
and
Al
John,
fans.
hilarious. You know what? I thought they were bad people when I watched it the first time, but now I think they're just funny.
All he wanted to do was just get
And
naked while he
Rebecca.
was doing a roadblock.
Rebecca, probably not Adam, but he brought some entertainment.
Yeah, he was a little bit floundering in his own way. I'm not talking
And
about
Ray
him
and
in a diving
Yolanda,
suit.
icons.
Ray and Yolanda, that is a pull.
Yeah, love that.
All right, Omar, you are always such a delight to not only have on our podcast, but watch on our screens. And we are so honored to get the chance to watch you once again every week hunting those traitors on the Traitors Canada. What do you want to plug for people out there? One episode has already aired and many, many more to come.
Yeah, and I was the victim of the twist. If you saw it, so rude. Yeah, it's really good. If you want to find a how can we make the links available? Because they're not.
Hey, if you're a patron of Rob Has a Podcast, they're available.
Oh yeah, the Rob Has a Podcast patron has the links for all you non-Canadians. It's a very good season. I've actually heard rave reviews across the board about Traders Canada, and also dailymotion.com has the episodes as well.
But also become a patron.
Also become a patron. Yes. They have the extended episodes as a patron.
Oh, yeah.
Dailymotion.com only has the regular.
So if you want to see some more great Omer content, be sure to check that out. Otherwise, anything else you want to plug, Omer? Any other places people can watch you, read you?
Excuse me. Chat BCC. Go to my Instagram page. I have the link posted. Sign up through there. We chat about the Survivor episode every week, and we're making it fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on Chat BCC. Rob obviously cites it each and every week. The players
there's throwdowns. There's throwdowns from other seasons saying the new era sucks, but ironically coming from a season that was not that good.
That's the thing. You think like Survivor, I think just by comparison, because Big Brother people have been involved in 2 out of these 3 shows, are the spicier ones, but there's still a lot of spice to be had, and you don't even have to nearly die from heat exhaustion for it. Shout out to another Big Brother player that crossed over into another reality show. Of course, you can check out everything we're doing over here on RHAP. Recaps each and every week. We'll be back again on Thursday, recapping episode 6 as we find out what the fallout from this double U-turn was. Of course, if you missed the interview that Rob and Jess did with Hannah and Simone, I also talked with Hannah and Simone over on Parade. We also did the B&B. Lots of stuff going on right now. Our fall is filled to the brim, much like a candy bucket, hopefully, on everyone's Halloween. And I am so thrilled.
What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, I mean, I'm a basic bitch. It's Reese's peanut butter cups. Like, come on. Chocolate and peanut butter is like the most winning Amazing Race combo. If they were anthropomorphizing
Pieces,
that's a little too far for me. I think maybe it's just like I like the candy coating of an M&M more. Like, I would rather have a peanut butter M&M than I would a Reese's Pieces.
Oh, they're basically the same.
I know, but I don't know. Maybe it's the principle of the thing. Maybe
it could be the ratio too, because I will say that the Halloween peanut butter cups that are small have too much chocolate to peanut butter ratio.
Maybe I also have just, a lack of affinity for ET, and so I just have a bias baked into whatever candy I pursue.
That's a good point. I've never seen ET, nor will I.
Well, you all can phone home by coming back home and checking out all of our coverage of The Amazing Race 38 back on your screens this Wednesday. Our podcast coming back to you this Thursday, and more of these as well. Suggest more alumni of, Big Brother, The Amazing Race, reality TV in general. It's a big season, and we want to get as many people's thoughts on it as possible, including such fantastic people as Omar Zaheer. So thank you again, Omar. This was such a great time. We'll be back in just a couple days talking about episode 6 of The Amazing Race 38. Until then, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.